No matter where you are in life, whether you're a student, working professional, businessman, or in any other profession, there are challenges on the road to success. Or there are people who try to stop you from moving forward. These people can be your competitors, rivals, enemies of some sort, or sometimes even those close to you who want to stop your progress. In today's video, we'll tell you 6 powerful rules from Chanakya Niti, by following which you can not only ensure your success, but also thwart every move of your rivals. But first, understand that you shouldn't consider anyone in the world your enemy, and it's equally important not to consider anyone your best mate. Relationships change with time and circumstances, so it's very important to make the right decision in every situation using your intelligence and strategy. All relationships in the world are either based on give and take, or they rely on some expectation. As long as you are in a position to give something to someone, people stay connected with you. This is the principle of self-interest, which is visible in every corner of society. The people connected to you, whether they are your family members, friends, or colleagues, all desire to benefit from you in some way. This is a harsh truth, and only after understanding it can you move towards success in your life. Relationships are very important in our lives. They shape our identity, our understanding, and our thoughts. But it is also true that these relationships are mostly based on some kind of self-interest. Whether it's financial, emotional, or social, every relationship is a kind of transaction in some form. Therefore, it is essential that you understand your relationships correctly and manage them in such a way that our loss is minimized, and if possible, the other person doesn't suffer any loss either. If the situation arises where only one person can survive, then you should be the one to live. Chanakya's idea that most people in the world are more powerful than you is a big truth about life. It's a big truth about life. Whatever field you are in, it is important that you correctly identify the power, qualifications, and abilities of the people around you. This will help you understand how to behave with whom. Along with this, it is also important that you recognize your own power, qualifications, and abilities and try to increase them. According to Chanakya, if you correctly identify your power and try to increase it, then you can easily defeat your enemies. Chanakya emphasized that while making any kind of decision, you should think deeply about its consequences. Whether that decision is related to your personal life or to a big business or political matter, every decision has a consequence. Chanakya's self-interest principle states that you should make sure that every decision you make is beneficial for you. Chanakya explained that a good strategy is essential for success. No matter what field you are working in, your success depends on what kind of strategy you make. Chanakya insists that your strategy should be such that it gives you maximum benefit and minimum loss. So, Chanakya suggested 6 special ways that you can use to strengthen your position and avoid enemies. These ways are peace, war, staying put, marching, seeking shelter, and double dealing. By adopting these 6 methods, you can succeed in dealing with your enemies and gain the maximum benefit for your advantage. Whether it's your personal relationships, your business, or any other important decision, Chanakya's policies will guide you in the right direction. The first strategy is the alliance strategy. Alliance means choosing the path of peace and agreement. Chanakya says that it is not possible to win every war, so we should maintain good relations with those who are more powerful than us, equal in power or weaker. And using persuasion and incentives, you should always strive to find a solution that not only satisfies the other person, but also resolves your problems peacefully. This means avoiding disputes or confrontations and finding a fair solution for both parties through dialogue and agreement. Also, keep in mind that no matter how powerful you are, and even if you have the ability to easily defeat your enemy, the effort should always be to resolve all issues peacefully and wisely. Let's understand this with an example. Lord Krishna sent a peace proposal to the Kauravas because he understood that Duryodhana had great diplomats like Shakuni and Kanika, Bhishma Pitama, who had the boon of choosing the time of his death, Dronacharya, the unparalleled teacher of warfare and a unique strategist, Ashwatthama, who knew immortal and infallible weapons, Karna, whose armor and chariot made him invincible, and Kripacharya, who was well versed in ethics and scriptures along with his vast knowledge of weapons and warfare. They were all great and powerful warriors. Direct war with such warriors could have been difficult and destructive. The peace proposal was sent with the aim of avoiding war and minimizing losses for both sides. In conclusion, this principle of Chanakya teaches us that we can resolve even the biggest crises through peaceful dialogue and agreement. Therefore, we should understand that whenever we have a dispute with someone, we should make decisions keeping in mind our strength and position. Through alliances, we can not only ensure our own benefit, but also understand the position of our opponent, so that disputes between both parties can be resolved peacefully. The second strategy is the conflict strategy. Conflict means struggle or war, which is adopted when there is no sign of peace, and there is a need for direct confrontation or weakening the enemy. This strategy is adopted to create division among enemies or to destroy their strength so that their power can be weakened and the path to victory becomes easier. If two or more people are working against you and you are alone, then the best way to defeat them is to create division among them or to destroy their biggest strength. For example, in the Mahabharata, Duryodhana's biggest strength was Karna. Karna was considered invincible and unbeatable because of his divine armor and earrings. The Pandavas used all four strategies, conciliation, temptation, punishment, and division, to remove Karna from the war and weaken him. First, under the strategy of conciliation, Sri Krishna told Karna his true identity, that he is the elder brother of the Pandavas. He tried to persuade Karna to leave the Kauravas by offering him the throne and respect. However, Karna prioritized his loyalty to Duryodhana and rejected this offer. After this, the strategy of temptation was resorted to. By making Karna realize his biggest weakness, that is, the lack of acceptance and respect in society, attempts were made to persuade him to take the side of the Pandavas. When these methods did not succeed, then the strategy of division was used. Kunti was sent to Karna, who took a vow from him that he would not kill any Pandava except Arjuna. This was a big strategic plan, which limited Karna's freedom. After this, Indra, disguised as a Brahmin, asked Karna for his divine armor and earrings as a donation. Karna happily gave it away because of his charitable nature, which weakened his security. In return, Indra gave him a divine weapon, but this weapon was used against Ghatotkacha, which nullified its advantage in the war. Karna was also cursed by Guru Parashurama that he would forget how to use divine weapons in difficult times. This curse also had an effect, and Karna could not make full use of his power at crucial moments in the war. Also, there were differences between Bhishma Pitama and Karna in the Kaurava army, which were further exacerbated to create discontent among the enemies. These strategies not only weakened Karna physically and mentally, but also eliminated Duryodhana's greatest strength. When Karna became weak, both Duryodhana's greatest strength and his confidence were shattered. Ultimately, this proved decisive in paving the way for the Pandavas' victory in the Kurukshetra war. Similarly, creating rifts between enemies and sowing discontent within them, making them fight amongst themselves or eliminating their greatest strength is part of the conflict strategy. Essential things related to the conflict strategy: time and the right opportunity. Conflict should be used when you are fully prepared and can sense the division among the enemies. It is important to make the right decision at the right time. Organized effort. To weaken enemies, many small efforts have to be brought together, such as reducing their resources or spreading discontent among them. Caution and planning. It is essential to have caution and planning when adopting the strategy of conflict. This will help you increase your strength and take advantage of the enemy's weakness. Conclusion. The purpose of this strategy is to weaken the enemies in such a way that they defeat themselves and your position becomes stronger. By adopting this, you can defeat even your biggest enemies and ensure your victory. The third strategy is the position strategy. Position means to hold your position or be patient. This is a deep and important strategy, which is adopted when your enemies are more powerful than you, and it is important to avoid direct confrontation. The main objective of this strategy is to keep your strength and plans hidden and wait patiently for the right time. When your enemies are showing off their power, you keep yourself calm and safe. Wait patiently for the right opportunity, and when your enemy becomes weak or gets into some trouble or his position starts to falter, then take precise and effective action. Let's understand this in an interesting way. For example, when Draupadi was being disrobed and the Pandavas were humiliated to the core, it might have seemed natural to wage war immediately. But the Pandavas knew that the immediate consequence of the war would not be in their favor. Instead, they adopted the strategy of position and patiently spent their time in exile enhancing their skills and strength. The Pandavas kept their power hidden by staying away from open battles during their exile. They had unique divine weapons, but they did not take the risk of attacking the Kauravas immediately. Rather, during this time, the Pandavas made alliances with other kings, strengthened their military power, and practiced war strategies and divine weapons under the guidance of Sri Krishna. When the right time came and the Kauravas became weak, the Pandavas attacked with full force and won. Conclusion. The Pandavas not fighting immediately was not their weakness, but a symbol of their foresight and patience. Through the strategy of position, they completed their preparation and attacked their enemy at the right time and achieved victory. This example teaches us how to use patience and strategy while understanding the circumstances. The fourth strategy in Chanakya's teachings is called vehicle, which means to attack. This strategy is used when you want to weaken your enemy and your chances of winning are high. It's a strategic attack, used when victory is certain and the risk of losing is very low. For example, in the Mahabharata, the Pandavas also used the vehicle strategy. Lord Krishna advised the Pandavas to attack the Kauravas with full force and strategy. The goal of this attack was to defeat the Kauravas and inflict maximum damage so that the war would end in the Pandavas' favor. Here are the key things to remember about the vehicle strategy. Certainty of victory. Use this strategy when you are sure about winning and defeating the enemy. This happens when you have enough power, the right resources, and an effective plan based on timing, which increases your chances of success. Need for immediate action. When you need to attack immediately, because not doing so could weaken your position. In such situations, immediate action is essential to avoid significant losses and strengthen your position. Attack plan. Before attacking, carefully analyze every situation and make a move that causes maximum damage to the enemy. But remember, there's always a chance of facing losses yourself. So, implement this strategy thoughtfully and plan to minimize your losses. Advantages of the vehicle strategy. By attacking at the right time, you can decisively defeat your enemy, strengthen your position, and turn the tide of the war in your favor. Disadvantages of the vehicle strategy. Your own power and resources can also be damaged during the attack. Therefore, adopt this strategy only when the situation is critical. The probability of winning is high and the risk of losses is minimal. The fifth strategy is the protection strategy. The protection strategy is used when your enemies are very powerful and you are not able to face them directly. In this situation, you have two main options. The first option is surrendering to the enemy. If your enemies are extremely powerful and you cannot deal with them alone, the first step might be to surrender to them. This means that despite your own strength, you pretend to surrender to that powerful enemy and seek their protection. The purpose of this is to use their strength to destroy them, minimizing the use of your own power and resources, allowing you to easily achieve your goal. For example, the cunning strategy of King Shakuni in the Mahabharata. King Shakuni's father and 99 brothers were starved to death one by King Dhritarashtra. This cruelty left a deep wound in Shakuni's heart, and from that moment he began planning his revenge. After this, Shakuni took an oath that just as his father received the news of each son's death every day, Dhritarashtra would also hear the news of the death of all his sons daily. After this oath, King Shakuni, while under the protection of Dhritarashtra and the Kauravas, began to weaken their foundation. He won the trust of the Kauravas through diplomatic conspiracies and ultimately brought about their destruction. This incident shows how, by taking refuge in the enemy's camp, their strength can be used against them, and by taking advantage of the situation, they can be defeated. The second option is Seeking refuge with a more powerful person. If your enemy's power is extraordinary and you are unable to deal with them, you can go to someone more powerful than them. You assure them that you will remain under their protection and request their help to eliminate your enemy. The best example of this, according to the Mahabharata, is where the Pandavas made Krishna their main ally and planned their war strategy with his advice. The purpose of this strategy is to get yourself out of a situation where you cannot fight your enemies alone. When you seek refuge with a more powerful or influential person, you can not only weaken your enemy, but also ensure your own safety. Conclusion. Through this strategy, Chanakya taught that surrendering when in a weak position can be a wise move. This decision can give you a significant strategic advantage against your enemies. The sixth strategy is the double dealing strategy. The essence of double dealing is to confuse the enemy in such a way that they see a certain situation or action as beneficial, while in reality, that very situation is harmful to them. The goal is to trick the enemy into thinking and acting in the wrong direction, so that they believe their plan or action is correct, while in reality, their plan fails, and they themselves cannot understand the reasons for their defeat. At the same time, act with your friends in such a way that they think they are losing out in a situation, but in reality, they are benefiting in some way. This strategy is based on confusing both enemy and friend, allowing you to effectively advance your plans. In this way, you can easily achieve your goal because both sides are confused and unaware of your strategies. For example, in the Mahabharata, Lord Krishna skillfully used this strategy. When the atmosphere of war against the Kauravas was prevalent, Sri Krishna proposed a settlement with the Kauravas and assured them that he was with them. With this move, Sri Krishna, along with the Pandavas, gradually weakened the Kauravas' position. As a result of being confused, the Kauravas misused their strength and resources, and their defeat was ensured due to Sri Krishna's diplomacy. On the other hand, Sri Krishna behaved with the Pandavas in such a way that they felt they were facing difficulties in the war, and their position was weakening. Under this illusion, Sri Krishna explained to the Pandavas that they needed to further improve their strategies and strength. His aim was that the Pandavas should strengthen their position by applying their full strength and resources in the right direction. Also, Sri Krishna encouraged the Pandavas and assured them that they had diplomatic ways that could lead them to victory. Due to this belief and illusion, the Pandavas were able to put their full energy and efforts in the right direction. Thus, the Kauravas weakened their position and the Pandavas made proper use of their full strength, ensuring their victory. Essential points related to the double-dealing strategy. The impact of diplomacy on both sides. Adopt parallel strategies with enemies and friends. Adopt parallel strategies to confuse enemies and friends. Sri Krishna convinced the Kauravas that they were winning, while confusing the Pandavas that they were facing difficulties. With this strategy, both sides started applying their powers and resources in the wrong direction instead of using them correctly. Maintain a balance of truth and illusion. According to the situation, make sure that you are confusing both enemy and friend, but neither side realizes that you are influencing both. The aim is for both sides to believe in their wrong strategies so that your purpose can be fulfilled. Conclusion. By implementing this strategy, you can confuse both enemy and friend and efficiently execute your plans. By using this strategy, you can easily achieve your goals in any complex situation. It is wise to use all these strategies at the right time and in the right way. If you thoughtfully apply these strategies to your life, you too can conquer your enemies. For information on motivational and self-development types of ebooks and audiobooks, check the description.